Hello. So today I'm joined by the wonderful Dan Eaton, who's the CEO of Pivotal Point Group, one of eGrowth Media's first clients. The purpose of this video is basically just to, in essence, explain what we've done with Pivotal, where they want to go, where we want to get them in the future, and just Dan's experience really with digital marketing, social media marketing, where he was and where we are now and where we want to go in the future. So Dan, just tell us a bit more about the business. Who are you? What is it? What is Pivotal Point Group? Just fire away.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, Joe. Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me on the channel. So Pivotal Point Group is our group of companies, umbrella term for multiple different companies in property doing different things. We have a serviced accommodation arm, which is providing short-term accommodation for contractors and tourism for furnished holiday lets. And then we have a number of different development projects, which also have different development companies within that Pivotal Point Group. Tend to specialize in the commercial to residential conversions, but we have got some new builds in there as well. That is taking unwanted, unloved and unused commercial buildings and converting them into residential. And once we convert them into residential, we can use them for service accommodation, hence why we have a service accommodation arm, or single lets, so sort of professional buy to lets, or we can use them for houses and multiple occupation, which will be our next project. So yeah, basically all of those things fit within the Pivotal Point Group. And so Joe, we came to you because we didn't know what we were doing with social media, basically, and we can talk about that in a bit more detail. But yes, that's the overview of the group anyway.
Fantastic. So based in Cheltenham, where do you want to be in the future in terms of, your digital marketing strategy? Do you want to be like a, big investment firm? Do you want to get investors from overseas eventually? I know we've got a plan to do that. Where do you see yourself in terms of an online business?
Yeah, great question. I mean, ultimately, what we're doing is just doing more of what we already are, and in some cases on bigger scales. So we've got really good teams in the area that we can put onto projects, and we can turn them around fairly quickly. So we've got, at the moment, for example, we've got 3 projects running concurrently, and we're just about to take on a 4th one. So we'll have maybe 4 running concurrently, which is about the limit of the teams at the moment. Now, the size of the projects doesn't necessarily matter too much, more of the the management around the different number of them. So we can do probably 4, maybe 5, maybe even 6 with the current capacity a year. Now that's all fine, but all of those projects do take funding and they take investment. So while the money's stuck in, put in one project, we have to wait for it all to come out before we can use it in another one. That's very, very slow, particularly in development terms. We're talking maybe 12, 18 months for a project. So we are constantly needing investment, fresh investment to put into the newer projects so that the company can scale. So where we're going to be going with it is doing more of what we're already doing on a slightly bigger scale, and bringing in the investment from, it doesn't have to be overseas, but it could be overseas, it could be UK based, it could be anywhere really, as long as it's fully legitimate and we go through all the correct anti-money laundering and KYC. With the solicitors look after all that anyway, but any of those investment channels are open to us. So yeah, that's exactly where we see it, Joe, just more and more of it.
Fantastic. So it seems like you've got an ambitious scale and path for the company, which is exciting to be part of.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that we realized once we'd started sort of 4 years ago was how much of this is around. There's lots of opportunities, there's lots of money around, particularly at the moment where people are, worried about banks not getting any interest in their money. We've seen a lot of potential talk of negative interest rates, so paying for your money to be in the bank rather than the other way around. Yeah. That's bringing a lot of cash into the marketplace. Now, the UK as a whole has a housing market. It has an undersupply of properties, and it has a growing population. So the demand is never going to change. So it's a great place to marry the two up. So yeah, not so much that it's an ambitious plan as much as it is just a realization that there is a market there, and that people need to do this for providing houses and providing homes for people's investments. So yeah, a bit of both.
Fantastic. So before you came to us, I've been working with you now, it's about 5 months now. What was your social media presence before? Had you ever tried any digital marketing? I know, just to clarify, guys, so we do Dan's personal branding and we do Pivotal Point social media. So we do their ads and organic stuff. But before, Dan, what was your kind of social media? Were you kind of posting a lot? Were you getting good traction? Were you getting leads? Were you doing advertising? What was the state of the socials before?
Yeah, so social media was one of those things that I knew I needed to do. It just always seemed to get a little bit pushed down the priority order, shall we say. Now, when I started in property in 2017, I didn't have a Facebook account, so I had to set one up from start. So, my journey over the last couple of years in terms of doing developments is also very much an evolution of social media and understanding the digital market space that we're now in. So in 2017, I didn't even have a Facebook account. So that was the first thing, was getting that started. And I knew I needed to do more posting. And I'd done a fair amount of posting, but it was very ad hoc, and it wasn't particularly what you'd class as high quality. It wasn't particularly engaging. So there was, at best it was haphazard, and every now and again there would be some sort of golden nuggets, if you like, because what I'll try and do is put the post out there with content that helps people. So it's things that we're doing and we're learning, putting a post out about that, and it wasn't really hitting the mark at all. So that's where my personal Facebook posting was on. From a business side of things, we'd set up some pages, and it was very much approach of, I'd heard this week that this was the thing to do, and I'd go and try and do that for a week, and then get sidetracked in something else, so that would fall over, and then next week there'd be something else, and a similar sort of scenario would happen. So when met Joe, digital marketing agency, doing all this stuff, who understands the difference between an Instagram post, a Facebook page, a Facebook profile, a Facebook group, and then adding on the layers of the complexity that come along with Facebook ads, and advertising, whether it's branding or whether it's for lead gen, or all those type of different nuances within social media. It just made perfect sense that it was a service that I desperately needed and just couldn't do. So like anything, sort of go and see the experts, and hence why we work with Joe.
Yeah. I remember we had that conversation the summer last year, and we were saying, we came down, we did some filming for you, and I remember you saying, I need to get on social media. I just started, other things became priority. But I guess now, we've got a good, consistent plan. And yes, we're being flexible with how it's been, and we're constantly changing and evolving it.
Yep.
But I'm going to go touch on the Facebook ads in a little bit. But what was the, what kind of made you work with us in terms of, obviously, we kind of met, a couple of months before.
Yes.
But what made you that decision to actually come with, with eGrowth Media?
Oh, well, to be honest, Joe, it was you. So I am a big advocate of trying to help out where I can, and seeing passion, entrepreneurial spirit, and drive is something that I really, admire and really like, and want to sort of foster wherever I can. So seeing you and meeting you and seeing that you had that drive, seeing that you had that passion, as well as the expertise and the knowledge, but actually having a bit of a passion for it as well, and the drive to do something and grow something, was really, really, fitted really well with our company values about what we're trying to do. So, that's exactly why it was eGrowth Media over anyone else. It was, the passion, the drive, the knowledge, the expertise, the whole sort of, package, which was exactly why I went to it. And I think a lot of people in business forget that these days, because they think about, maybe glossy presentations and pricing schedules, and, we're the best because we do X, Y, and Z. And they forget about, the human aspect of this. Now, we're talking about digital marketing, but we're ultimately talking about marketing to humans. And if you're talking about doing, particularly from my point of view, you talk about helping me with my personal brand, I need that to be a personal thing. It can't be a automatic systemed, outsourced, offshored, computerized program. It doesn't work like that. It needs to be personal. So the fact that all that fitted in eGrowth Media and Joe exactly was perfect. So that's why I went with you.
Oh, fantastic. Appreciate that. So we've been running some Facebook ads, for a couple of months now. Again, it started off slow. We tested a couple of things. I said to you, it's a constant test of, constant stage of testing. I want you to tell the guys about, the win that we've had recently when you told me about the investor who'd seen the advert. To explain that, what was the process from the advert to, onboarding to actually payment? Just talk us through that if you could.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the ads are around a number of things, really. So one, we want to try and help people. So we've produced some documentation, we've produced some reports and things which people will hopefully find useful. And the feedback we're getting so far is that is exactly what's happening. So that's great. But yeah, the ads testing, like you say, we've got to test it. And I'm, like anything, people to give up too quickly. So it would have been very easy, in week 1, 2, 3, or 4, maybe to say, do you know what, Joe, this is just spending money, we're not getting anything from it, and cut it off. But then, week 4.5, we get a call from someone who's, I've seen your ad, really want to work with you. What's the next steps? So like, brilliant, thanks very much. Why don't you come and meet us? Come and see our development sites. We'll talk you around our development sites. We'll show you what we're doing. So we'll show you what it is that you would be investing in. Now, it might not be the specific project, but it'd be one of the group's projects that they are investing in. So we did that. They liked what they saw. And then it was a case of, okay, I want to invest. How do I invest with you? Then it was a case of going through the legal processes. So it was a case of making sure that the funds were legitimate, going through the anti-money laundering, etc., through the solicitors, loan agreements signed up, and then they deposited their funds into one of our projects. So went into one of our project accounts. And then, they're now investing in property, and we're helping them with their own journey, and we're showing them how this property investment works from a developer's point of view. So they get to see all of the stuff behind the scenes with project development. So they get to see all the paperwork, they get to see all the funding, they get to see how the figures work, they get to see how the build process works from a developer's point of view. So yeah, and that was all the result of one of the Facebook ads that we put out there.
That's amazing. Honestly, I remember you telling me that. I was like, that's probably one of the best achievements, knowing that we'd seen that advert, you'd taken him round and you closed him. And now you're helping him with, with his journey. Mm-hmm. And I remember on the video you did last year, you always said it was about win-win situations.
Yes.
For investors, for earn and learn, for your mentees, for everyone around you. And I can see that now. Sorry then, but I can see it, and it's good to be part of that.
Yeah, and it's a really good thing. This is about win-wins. This is about win-wins for everyone, because there's so much stuff out there, and people can. I'm a big believer actually that people can sort of design their own lifestyles, and they can do, but they can't do it alone. So you've got to have help. I have help with where I am. If I can help anyone else, I really want to do that as well, because I wouldn't be where I am if people hadn't helped me. So there's just so much out there. We can just all help each other, and win-win is just really work really, really well.
Yeah, no, 100%. So again, we're coming up to our final month in our agreement at the moment. I guess it's the next steps are, how do we take it to the next level? I think we've built foundations. Mm-hmm. So just for context, so we've been running mainly lead generation campaigns, but we're thinking to really scale this up and take it to the next level. We're thinking of introducing some sort of funnel where it would be like, instead of running lead generation campaigns, we would maybe run traffic or conversion campaigns over to a page where Dan would in essence explain, a bit more about Cheltenham, a bit more about Pivotal Point Group, why they should work, why they should invest with Dan, and then maybe do some sort of like open day or like a earn and learn, like a site day. I know we've kind of briefly spoken about that, Dan, haven't we?
Yes.
But I think, there's not many people in the industry do it. And I feel like that could really, given that transparency that, I am Dan, this is what we do, this is what my company stands for, these are the projects, what we're doing. And I think ultimately that will make you different to other property investment firms that, kind of just go for the more standard route. But I don't know what you think of that, if that would be something to look forward to.
Yeah, and exactly the same as when we started out, the group's aim is to do more of what they're doing, bigger scale, more of it. And as I said at the start, that takes investment. But, the social media is part of the group. It's not a separate thing now. I mean, I know we're talking about, eGrowth Media and Pivotal Point Group, but that's a partnership, so we're working together in a partnership. So when Pivotal Point Group grows, then its ecosystem, its preferred partners, its strategic suppliers, of which eGrowth Media is very much in that bracket, they will grow too. They, because if they don't, they cease to be that win-win. So they will grow. They have to grow, and I've got full confidence that eGrowth Media will. Otherwise I wouldn't be using eGrowth Media, because if I don't see the long-term view of it, what's the point of doing it? Because it's just become painful for everyone. So it's definitely going to be part of the future. And the things you talk about there, those are fantastic ideas, and we're definitely going to be implementing them in what we already do. I mean, we do project showcase days at the moment where we'll bring investors in, and we were doing those before lockdown, and we'll probably bring some of those things back when we can, and incorporating that into a social media strategy. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I love that concept.
Yeah, I think get it onto a bit bigger scale, more people, more investors, ultimately more money for you. So what advice would you give to any kind of, obviously eGrowth Media, we do 90% of our clients are within the property space. What would you give advice to like a property investment firm that maybe kind of want to invest in digital marketing, but they're not sure, they might have heard of bad things, might have bad experiences. What advice would you give to them to get, go ahead and embrace this digital world, Facebook content, organic, Facebook ads, funnels, lead generation?
Yes. In some ways, what you've just highlighted there is a big waterfront of all the things that you can do in digital marketing. In some ways, when you're starting out in property, people focus on the property aspects of it, and they focus on its property, they focus on the bricks and mortar, they focus on the numbers, which is very, very important. It's a fundamental part of the business. But a fundamental part of any business is marketing. It has to be. It always will. And I was listening to a group the other day, and a lady called Hayley Meeks, really good in marketing as well. And she basically said, if you're trying to save money by cutting marketing, it's like trying to save time by stopping your watch. You just can't do it. All right, it just doesn't work like that. So if you're starting out in property, you need to make sure that your marketing, or I suppose in any business really, you need to make sure that your marketing is on point. Now, when you're starting out, just start with some marketing, okay? You don't need to worry about necessarily doing everything that is available at once, because that's exactly what I said earlier. I heard that this was the thing this week, and I'd start doing that, and then I'd heard that this was the thing this week. You can't keep up with it. You need a professional team to help you. But just start with the team and start doing some marketing, because that's what you need. And it doesn't have to be the entire waterfront on day one, but it probably will eventually grow to the entire waterfront. But just start with the digital marketing, start with the team, start with one thing and just make it work, and then just keep consistently doing it. So do it before you think you need it. Start small, do it consistently.
And that's what we've done over the past 6 months. Like, we've not, gone too complex with creating funnels. We started just with the lead generation. We're looking to do some email marketing soon, because we're building that database of leads, and obviously we need to market to them, provide value, showcase Cheltenham. And I think for next month, that's something we need to look at and say, right, we've got these leads now. Let's nurture them. Let's build that know, like, and trust, and then and then let's market to them. But again, that wasn't a fundamental from the start. We've got the basics set up. Incorporate these more kind of sexy things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do the basics well. I think that's probably a lesson through business, through history, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Do the basics well.
And then finally, Dan, what would you recommend us? Final words on kind of us and how you found the working relationship in terms of the onboarding, the reporting, the comms, the updates.
Yeah, I find it amazing, Joe. So eGrowth Media are brilliant, because not only do they know what they're talking about, they can convey that to someone who doesn't know what they're talking about in a way that makes sense. So there's a translation thing there, which, great communication, which is fantastic. The content and things that go out is top notch, probably, as good, if not, well, let's be honest, it's probably better than I could do. Let's face it. And the way of working really, really works. So it's a very collaborative approach. It's very much a win-win, which is, like I said earlier, is exactly what we're Pivotal Point Group and eGrowth Media, it's all about. Yes, it works really, really well.
Yeah, no, appreciate the words, Dan. Thanks very much for that. Stop recording now.